The Beastie Boys just had a concert on YouTube over the weekend. I watched it, you watched it, let's talk about it now. Hey everybody, Chris King here with Love Live Music, and we're talking about Beastie Boys concert at Bonnarroo 2009 that was part of the big Bonnaroo virtual reality weekend where they showed a lot of sets from a lot of different people, but the one everybody's talking about is what the Beastie Boys did. And it's mainly because it was awesome, but it's also because this, I think, was the very last concert that they did. I know they said it was the last concert before MCA got diagnosed with cancer, and then he died a couple of years later, 3 years later. But this very well could be the last show, and I'm pretty sure it's the last show. Don't hold me to it in case they played something else. Don't be calling me up in the middle of the night saying, "Hey man, you don't know your Beastie Boys, dude." Well, I've seen them a couple of times. I've been loving them since I was a kid. And here's a fun fact. Of all of the concert tickets that I've ever bought to shows that I never went to, Beastie Boys is the first. And I'll tell you about that in a little while. But right now, let's talk about the set list and how everything went down at Beastie Boys' 2009 Bonnaroo show. Everything starts off with Mixmaster Mike, and he's dropping some Led Zeppelin and getting the crowd pumped up. And the crowd is huge. Let me tell you, this is a very well done concert video. I know Mario C., who's been in the Beastie Boys camp for a long time. Mario C. likes to keep it clean. You know, Mario C. He did the production work on the video. I'm guessing that he is responsible for how smooth it sounded, how good it looked. There weren't too many edits. A lot of newer concert videos kind of drive me crazy because it's just like cut to different scenes. This lets things play out a little bit. It's got several cuts, but it lets things play out. It follows the three principles. It follows some of the ancillary players. Money Mark's there. Like I said, Mixmaster Mike is there. Kicks things off to get them started with the Led Zeppelin intro that goes into the Biz versus the Nuge, which is on, I can't remember what album it is. I think it's on Check Your Head. It's just a little, almost like a little skit kind of song that plays in that album. The Beastie Boys, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Da, 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 da. And so the guys come out on stage and they're putting their instruments on. So it's like, you know, are you going to get the rock show? Are you going to get the rap show? You're probably going to get a little or a lot of both. And they immediately rip into Time for Living, which is so energetic. And, you know, probably not what the crowd expected. The crowd probably expected any 10 songs that are more well-known than Time for Living, but this just kind of harkens back to their punk roots. It was on the, I think it was on the Ill Communication album. Might have been on the Check Your Head album. I get them confused. I was in my early 20s when those albums came out, so there was a lot going on, but I've listened to them a ton, and I was happy to hear them start off with such high energy and just freaking rocking out, man. Then the instruments come off. We're going to go into Super Disco Breakin' from Hello Nasty, Sure Shot, No Sleep Till Brooklyn, and Shake Your Rump. So we're getting into some of their better known rap hits. No Sleep Till Brooklyn, they introduce it. Hey, we're a bunch of guys from New York. Thanks for having us down here in Tennessee. The crowd all sings along. Certainly one of the big hits from the breakthrough album License to Ill. And then it goes into Shake Your Rump from my favorite, really one of my all-time favorite albums, Paul's Boutique, which, some of that stuff, and I'll only kind of dabble in this, but some of the older Beastie Boys stuff, like maybe some of the stuff from License to Ill and Paul's Boutique, might not play as well in 2020 lyrically as it did 30 years ago. but they changed up a couple of words here or there. They changed up some lyrics. They dropped some different styles, and that was one of the things that I loved throughout this video. Was that some of the classics, like, man, I'm pretty sure it was on Shake Your Rump. I know that there was one later, a little bit with Paul Revere, but there was another one later that Mixmaster Mike just took the liberties of reworking sonically the fabric of the song. The guys, kept their same rhyme scheme and everything on top of it, but it just sounded like a new song with a new vibe and a new energy in a lot of different places. And it, in my opinion, worked almost 100% of the time. I was really into it, and I really dug his reworking of that. And it made me think, man, they could put out some remix albums or remix some of their tracks with some newer sounds and really rework them in such a way that I would find very interesting. And I would have gratitude for that, which brings us to the next track. They put the instruments back on, and Gratitude. It's great to see these guys play the real instruments. I know the last time that I saw them was in '99 in Kansas City when they did the tour with Tribe Called Quest. And I was really impressed with their playing and being able to watch this Bonnaroo thing with a lot of close-ups. I was super impressed, and I loved MCA. I loved the tone he was getting out of his bass, real distorted, playing it pretty much like a guitar. It is a bass guitar, right? But instead of just holding down the bottom, it was really, I guess listening to the records for so long and then seeing them play a lot of it live just kind of opened up to me a lot more of what they were about and what they were doing, and how these guys really have the chops, and they really put a lot of time not just into their wordplay and, my God, the memorization of trying to keep up with all those songs and all those lyrics, but they're really good players, all of them in their own right. Ad Rock, Mike D, drums, guitar, bass with MCA, just really dug it. Then we're going to hit some instrumentals from Gratitude. We go into Subrosa, which I don't think that was on the End Sound from Way Out, which is their instrumental album. I think they've got 2 instrumental albums, but you definitely need to check that out if you want some vibey, jazzy, funky stuff. But Subrosa was the next track, and then they go into I believe Egg Raid on Mojo, which goes way back to, man, I think that predates License to Ill. I think that is actually, and I would have to look it up. Then let me get some action from the back section. Body moving. Pass the Mic, which is one of my favorites, with the 3 doing such great interplay with each other. And then we're going to kick it root down before we bring out our special guest all the way from, I don't think they said Brooklyn. I think they said Bensonhurst. They bring out Nas, Nasty Nas as they call him, for Too Many Rappers, which is off of Hot Sauce Committee, record that came out after this concert, like a couple of years after this concert. And it's a really solid Beasties record. Hot Sauce Committee, if you haven't heard it. I like it better than To the Five Boroughs, which I don't think they played anything off of that. Could be wrong, but pretty sure they didn't play anything off of To the Five Boroughs. And then the classic of classics, Paul Revere, off the License to Ill album. And I'm super thankful that they played it. And really, they kept License to Ill to a minimum. Just that one. And earlier, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Interesting that they didn't play the song that got them there, Fight for Your Right to Party, but this is the party. This Bonnaroo concert was the party, man. They fought for the right, and now they're having the party, and it's at this Bonnaroo set that really, if you're a Beasties fan, you gotta see this. Then we go into Ricky's theme, and then Something's Got to Give, kind of slowing down the groove a little bit, and that's going to take us into, man, I know there's another song that I'm missing, but then it brings us to What You Want. So What You Want, and that's going to be the end of the full set prior to Encore, is going to be So What You Want, which contains one of my all-time favorite Beasties lyrics. So I think I'm losing my mind this time I'm losing my mind. That's right. Said I think I'm losing my mind this time I'm losing my mind. All right, so they come back from the encore. They start with Intergalactic, first song of the encore. Crowd's going crazy. Intergalactic, planetary, and, robot dancing and jumping around. Then they put the instruments on for Heart Attack Man. Another one of their hard kind of punk numbers. Starts off acoustic, goes a little bit harder, but they've got their instruments on. So if you're paying attention to the Beastie Boys world, you probably know how we're going to end it. I'm going to set it straight this Watergate. They drop Sabotage. It's the closing song. And if you think about that being the closing number for Beastie Boys' live performance career with the original 3 members, it seems like a real fitting way to go out. As a matter of fact, what we see on camera as the guys are leaving the stage, the last shot that we see leaving the stage, Adam Yauch, MCA, he's holding up a camera, maybe it's a camera phone, whatever. He's filming the crowd, and he, with Mixmaster Mike in front of him, he is the last one to leave the stage. Fitting. Taking a picture of the crowd like, like maybe he knows he'll never see this again. Just like we'll never see the Beasties again like that. I got high hopes. We're going to see more stuff. I've yet to watch their Apple TV presentation. So maybe there's a lot of information there that I've skipped over that I should know about as a fan. But I'm excited to see that maybe they'll do something else. Maybe they'll have an instrumental album again and have someone else on bass. That would be exciting. But hey, I was going to tell you my story about the first time, because a lot of times I've bought tickets to a show that I've ended up not going to for 1 or 10 million reasons. But in 1986, 87, I think it was 87, spring of 87, I was in Los Angeles for 2 days as a 17-year-old. And I heard that Beastie Boys and Run DMC were coming to the Hollywood what's the name of the amphitheater? It's a big amphitheater in Hollywood. I'll have to look it up. I feel horrible that I can't tell my story right. So I was with my grandmother and my great aunt, and we went to Sears, which is where you used to buy tickets a lot of times. That would be a Ticketmaster outlet. You'd have to go stand in line. And we went and we bought me some tickets to see Run DMC and Beastie Boys. They were going to be at it was the Greek Theater, the Greek Amphitheater in the Los Angeles area. The concert was going to be in 2 months. Somehow I thought that I would get back to California as a 17-year-old with, a life of a 17-year-old. It never happened. I held on to the tickets forever and never used them. So that's my story. Love the Beasties. Paul's Boutique's my favorite album. So what you want? My name's Chris King. If you enjoy my Love Live music channel, then subscribe and check out some of my other videos. Starting to do some good reviews now, and I can't wait to see you next time at a show.